Hey, Justin Pate from the Wrap Institute, and in this video, I want to talk about Triple S in regards to slide. Now keep in mind, Triple S stands for slip, slide, and shine, and the slide is to help make your buffer slide easier across the wrap film. So here's some tips and tricks on how to get the best performance. So there are two primary reasons why you want to use Triple S on your buffer during the squeegeeing process. One is it reduces fatigue by quite a bit. Because it helps your squeegee slide across the surface, you don't have to exert that much more effort while still putting enough pressure on the wrap film, which is a big win day in and day out. And number two is to avoid scratches, whether you're wrapping with gloss, satin, or matte films. It's a game changer. With that, I now want to talk about how best to put Triple S on the buffer or the wrapping film. So one option with Triple S is to spray the surface of the wrapping film, then squeegee. That works very good. Only thing you have to consider sometimes though is once you spray, it's kind of hard to see the film, and if you're on a curve, you might not see some wrinkles build up. So if you're on a flat surface, definitely spray and squeegee. If you're wrapping curves, maybe spray the buffer first, then squeegee. So if you are going to spray your buffer first, then squeegee, what I highly recommend is this. Don't spray it over the workspace floor, because if Triple S gets on the floor itself, it might get a little slippery. So always get in the habit of taking your squeegee and placing it above a towel or an area on the car that doesn't matter if Triple S gets on it for the long term. Good. Once you do that, I highly recommend juicing both sides. So you want to spray one side to make sure it gets nice and soaked, switch it, and then let it sit and kind of soak into the buffer. Once it's set, then you squeegee. So then once the buffer is nice and juiced, what I highly recommend is about after 4 or 5 squeegee strokes, rotate the squeegee to a nice wet side, and then you keep on going. So don't let it dry out too far, because then the squeegee will get a little harder and you might open the door to scratches. So squeegee 4 and 5, rotate it, go back and forth, juice it up again, and keep going. And one final tip about Triple S when using it for slide is this, and it's extremely important, is that once you're done with the squeegeeing process, don't wait 20 or 30 minutes and then come back and wipe that section down. What I particularly like to do is I like to squeegee the whole section on, and even before cutting, I spray the section one more time with Triple S and I wipe off the excess residue. Why I do that is for two reasons. One is it helps me check for bubbles, which is great, so that's QC. And two, and this is the big one, it keeps the Triple S from drying too quickly on the surface, particularly with matte films and on a warm day. Because if you let Triple S sit too long, it's not in the same class as ceramic coatings, but you have to think of it that way. If it sits too long, you're going to create high spots and low spots, and that might affect the film. So the idea is squeegee, wipe, then cut. So that concludes these straightforward and simple tips and tricks on how to use the slide function at Triple S, and I hope this helps you wrap better and faster. Cheers.